All right. Hey guys, I've got another episode of Drafting to Win. This is a game that I took from a 6-3 run I did with that was blue, red, and Zendikar Rising. And this is a really exciting game. There's a lot I can learn from analyzing this game and kind of just talking through it. And I want to get like your input, the viewer, on what I could have done better, what I could have done worse. But it's a good showcase. And it's really exciting. The first card you see is Merfolk Wind Robber. It is the MVP of this game. If I was a really dedicated YouTuber, I'd have like a hit count of how much life it ends up taking this game, but it's a hero. So that's the first point of damage. I got lucky that I got it on the first opening hand, but this ends in like a nail biter. I mean, it's really exciting towards the end. It's really a complicated game when it comes to the right times to attack, and I even messed up. I had a huge error at one point in this game just from the complexity of the cards. So you'll see. I want to talk through. I want to bring you value. I want to. This is called Drafting to Win. If you're watching this, you're interested in winning, and it's meant to learn something. So take that in the spirit of watching this. Unfortunately, me milling him caused him to draw a card, the Skyclave Sentinel, which ends up giving me troubles the entire game. You'll see. That thing is a 2/3 defender flyer, so I can't swing in with my 1/1. Pretty early on, I already have 4 mana with a lot of islands up, so it makes the Charix a phenomenal card in this state. Just having a 0/17 that can activate for damage is huge. I always like to look at how many cards your opponent has versus how many cards I have. It's a good gauge to see if you're ahead or behind. First of all, it's the most important thing is, do you have board control? So what's the center of the board look like? Can you get through your opponent's stuff, or is your opponent displaying that they can get through your stuff? Opponent has really good piece of removal there. And then the secondary thing to look at is how many cards you have. The first part of the game is kind of identifying if you're the aggressor or if your opponent is going to be the aggressor. And then if your opponent is really aggressive, then you have to find a way to outvalue them unless you can sneak by with the wind. And it's hard to determine that from this game so far. It seems that we're both kind of presenting what's on the board. We haven't decided who's the aggressor yet. It looks right now that it's the opponent. They have a better board state. They're pretty good defensive position. I get a good draw with the Armara Wizard, which seemed like a good pick at the time that I picked it up, but it's kind of hard to activate the flying, especially with a counter magic in my hand. I don't mind swinging here because if he defends it, then I get to draw the card. So it's like a 1-for-1 and I draw a card. So that's fine with me. Opponent attacks here, which is an odd attack. So I know they're up to something. I know when they die, they're trying to put a +1/+1 on another creature. And so I end up canceling it. And I just look at my life total and I go, it's fine if the opponent, I'd rather see what they're trying to develop. And as you can see here, they have the Hagra Constrictor that makes cards with +1/+1 counters better. So a good decision to hold off there. I can use my life total as a resource. I get a good drop with the 3/1 Human Warrior. This is an important card because it can change one of the opponent's creatures into a coward, and then you can push through damage with your warriors. And now the board state's getting complicated. I always feel a little bit of pressure to keep the pressure up on the opponent. I like to force my opponent to make decisions, good or bad, because a lot of times players will just make the wrong choice and you can get ahead that way. So I like to, kind of turn my cards to the side unless I'm way outvaluing them, like I mentioned. So here is a major error because he ends up putting a +1/+1 counter, and this is just me not reading one of his cards. He puts the +1 counter on. He wins the fight. Luckily, I do get to draw the card, but he sacrificed a creature that didn't really matter to him, puts a +1 token on, and he's getting activators for all of that. So opponent is outvaluing me at this point, and I don't really see a way around it. Here I'm trying to figure out how to get damage in. Because I've identified at this point, I need to... Because the opponent's going to outvalue me, I need to find a way around his stuff so I can win the game quicker. I want to end this quickly. The Thundering Rebuke is a good draw because I can do 4 damage to an opponent so I can kill something. What I should do is kill off the Skyclave Shadow Curl. But what I end up doing is different. I know if I use the Thundering Rebuke, it activates the 4/3, makes the wizard a flyer. I elected to turn the 4/4 creature on the ground into a coward and trying to push through an attack here. I'm trying to gear up for a big attack. I know I'm holding removal in my hand, so I didn't quite do this math correctly. So you can see what I've done here. Watch what happens. It's tough for the opponent to decide blocks in this case. But they do end up choosing pretty good blocks. That's when I figured out that Thundering Rebuke is a sorcery card, so it's not instant speed. That really messed me up. I try to recover here by at least giving my guy +1/+1 and then trample, so at least I get some damage, and that ends up being really relevant later on. So as the attacks go through, I end up losing a 2/2. For some reason, he lets the 4/3 go through because my opponent's thinking that they can use their life as a resource, let some damage through, and continue to get those +1/+1 counters and win the game overall because he's whittling me down. Opponent sacrifices a creature, puts a +1 counter on, renders my spell useless, and this looks really bad from here. A 5/5 creature, I don't have removal. He's got a 3/4. It's a defender, luckily. If that had been an attacker, this game would probably be over. I saw that, and they're just getting more and more life. And then they have a drop. I mean, this is huge, and I can't even counter it. Unless they have 8 cards in their graveyard. I believe I checked that. I don't think they have 8 cards in their graveyard. If they did, that was a super blunder, but I'm pretty sure I checked it during the game. Because anti-cognition, if my opponent pays 2, they can counter the counter magic. But if they have 8 cards or more in their graveyard, my anti-cognition would counter their card. No, yep, we just checked there. So he has 7 cards in his graveyard. This is a good draw at this stage of the game because it allows me to pick 3 cards. Royal Eruption was massive because that could end the game right now if I can survive one turn and then use the Royal Eruption, as long as my opponent doesn't gain life. End up choosing the Kaza Royal Chaser here. I think I remember this. I'm pretty sure I screwed this up. Let's watch. Okay, this is when I pass the turn. Opponent's got a 5/5. We're getting really close to the end where one or two swings from me or from my opponent could end the game. There you go. Swings in with the 5/5. I'm not going to block here because blocking is going to mean that I'm probably going to lose the game. If I let the damage through, I just have to get it next turn. So it passes the turn. And at this point, I should just play Royal Eruption to end the game. But instead, I think I messed it up. We'll see. This is one of my first games with the Zendikar Rising, so... No, wait. Royal Eruption would do 5 damage, so I can't do the full 7. I was thinking it does 7 damage, but it doesn't. It costs 7, which is very expensive to do 5 points of damage. I do know that I need to use it. Oh, right here. Yep. It activates the flyer. And I should be able to swing through for lethal. Opponent can only block one of the flyers, and then the rest of the damage goes through. And I'm holding up counter magic just in case. Ends up sacking a creature, trying to draw removal or an out or something. And nope, they didn't have it. So I ended up winning. I remember just going, whoa, that was too close. That was a really fun game. It's fun to try to find ways to get lethal even if you are behind. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. Anytime, I mean this, I'm a small channel. If you're watching right now and you want help with drafting, you want to tweet at me, you have a question about this game, leave a comment below. I'm going to link my Twitter. I'm going to link, obviously, the YouTube comments. Let me know. Let me know if you like this content, if you want to see a full draft where I edit through the video and I include the actual picking of cards, the draft part of it. And then, or if you just want to see more games where it's just gameplay and I talk through the decisions and the process and get into more specifics. I've got lots of content so far, and I plan to make a lot more content because Magic is just a fun game to play. So I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for your time. Reach out to me, interact. I will get back to every single one of you that does. Thank you.